Good day, strategy gamers. This video is meant as either a welcome, new to the channel viewer to understand a little bit about the content that I create here, or it's meant for returning viewers to get a little bit of an update of what the video content schedule will be and what might be next on the horizon. I intend to do one of these kind of biannually or maybe as the seasons change throughout the year, just so that way everybody understands maybe what's on the lineup for next videos. So this will be a pretty short entry into the collection. First, I just want to begin with a couple of points, and this will specifically be aimed at those who may be newer to the channel and what it is we try to focus on with this content. The first is the mission statement is just we want to try to tackle complex or daunting strategy games, whether it be via the physical or digital mediums, really to demonstrate their playability by anyone, to make sure everybody understands that even the most complex of games can be played and they can be enjoyed without having to become an expert in every aspect of them. A couple of core tenets that we then have to try to fulfill that mission statement is we're going to approach everything with kind of a learning first attitude, whether that be the game itself, feedback from the community, or decisions that we make. It's always going to be with a learning first intent, both receiving and demonstrating. Second is that the content really will be of a casual nature. This is not a channel meant to unravel the min-maxing paths for any given game, and it's not meant to be a competitive view of these games and how to climb the ladder of success in terms of performance. Lastly, we will focus on niche games. I really want to try to address games that maybe are underserviced or don't receive the attention that I believe they deserve from smaller publishers, or rather smaller hobbies. For example, board wargaming and some of the wonderful board wargaming systems that are out there compared to, say, the mainstream Euro games, which I also certainly enjoy, but there's plenty of content if you want to learn about those titles available to you. Next, let's look real quick at what release schedules look like here for the fall of 2023. Kind of going through Sunday through Saturday. On Sundays, we're going to be having Rule the Waves 3 content, and that's going to be our 1890 Japan playthrough series. It's just kicked off, and it's been really exciting so far getting into Rule the Waves 3. I've played all three versions of the game, and this one certainly delivers the most in terms of added features. This is a PC-related game published by Matrix Games, and I'm anticipating that maybe around December of this year, we'll have that series wrapped up. When that game finishes, the current intent is that we will probably look at Distant Worlds 2. Please note, though, that any of these next up series may be subject to change, whether it be on new DLCs coming out, maybe we want to cover for other games, new content, new releases, what have you. But the intent right now is that Distant Worlds 2 will likely fill in the time slot that Rule of Waves 3 occupies currently. Next, on Mondays, we're going to be publishing War in the East 2 videos from our Stalingrad to Berlin campaign. This is, of course, a Gary Grigsby game, again published by Matrix Games, a PC game specifically. And I'm expecting that this series will actually be done in October of 2023. For those who are newer to the channel, at the time of recording, we have about 80 episodes of this series and Let's Play out there available to you, so there is plenty of content. And if you are looking to learn War in the East too, well, there are other content providers we'll talk about with very specific tutorials. Of the playlists that I have available on the channel, Stalingrad to Berlin will probably be most represented for newer players to the series. Now, this time slot on Mondays, we're going to classify as a Gary Grigsby time slot. And what that means is that when we complete here in October, we're going to then move to another Gary Grigsby game. And I want to try to keep Mondays and Wednesdays constantly be a rotation of Gary Grigsby content. So we had started a War in the West playlist, which has been a lot of fun. in the past. We're going to revisit that and see it out to completion. And when that's done, we're just going to keep cycling through other playlists that we have out there for the different Gary Grigsby titles, and one day tackling War in the Pacific. Tuesdays, there's not going to be any scheduled release content. If there is anything, just consider it a bonus video. Wednesdays, we're going to again repeat with the Stalingrad to Berlin series from Gary Grigsby, War in These Two. Thursday's another no content scheduled day. Fridays, we're going to again revisit Rule the Waves 3 with the same 1890 Japan playthrough. On Saturdays, we're going to try to dedicate Saturday content releases to being physical board war games. And currently we do have one episode out there for the third winter where we're playing through Manstein's Fire Brigades scenario. That one actually started a little bit into the scenario already, as it took me longer than I expected to set up my physical in-person camera setup to record the game action and really technically get it to a level of quality I felt comfortable with. So you're going to be coming in just a little bit into the game already being played, but still OCS, Operational Combat Series, is a very exciting system to learn if you have not already learned it. Now, Saturdays, again, they're going to be dedicated to board war games, which means when we do finish with this playlist, expecting maybe November of this year, we're actually going to cycle to another Operational Combat Series title. I haven't picked out which one yet, so if you have any feedback on which one, please do leave it in the comments section below. I will say, though, Case Blue probably isn't going to happen. And then once we go through some more content on Saturdays for board war games, we will expand beyond Operational Combat Series titles as well. We may explore BCS, Battalion Combat Series, or maybe Next War from GMT. A lot of different series of games that I would like to try out on Saturdays as we continue with that content. I really have to stress that I've gotten into all of this because of other wonderful content creators. And I will always steer you towards others that maybe have better explained something, have a tutorial, or just have fantastic content on the things that we're also talking about. Of course, I don't have an opportunity to mention every single content creator out there, but I wanted to highlight some of the ones that I really have always been impressed by and have learned so much from. First would be History on the Table. This is primarily a podcast run by Matt and Rich, which updates on a monthly basis, and they also have a YouTube channel with some great content as well. So please give them a look if you have a chance. Their focus is generally more on the board war game specific genres. However, they do have some PC content as well. Next, we have Ardwolf's Lair, and this is a YouTube channel where the creator is specifically covering, again, board war games, and just publishes very regular, very in-depth, and very subject matter expert oriented content for the hobby. You couldn't possibly look for a better mentor to learn things from than by watching Ardwolf's Lair and his channel. Next, we'll go over to RVT War Games, and this is RVT War Games with Dickie. I recently stumbled upon his channel, and again, the fact that we're using some PowerPoint slides here was, I will be fully transparent, inspired by just how well he has put together his content. It's something that I aspire to try to get to the same level of quality with what I produce here. But I'm also just really have to give a great shout out because he is so knowledgeable about the games that he plays. And I think it's interesting that he also covers some of the PC strategy games such as Rule the Waves. But he also has a lot of content around the Battalion Combat Series, which is another board game system I'm very interested in. So please do give him a like and a follow if you're interested in those topics. Moving on to Tortuga Power. I've been watching Tortuga's content. I don't want to say I was one of the first to watch, but from pretty early on in the videos that he was making. And one of the reasons for it was back when I started playing Rule the Waves. it probably wasn't the first day I started playing, but pretty early on in my time playing Rule the Waves, I was looking for YouTube content for Rule the Waves, and Tortuga Power was one of the first names out there making anything for the game. And that's really something in a game that he has become a complete expert on. But he also covers a wide range of other content on YouTube, really focused mostly around strategy games. I will say as well, he also co-hosts a podcast, Single Malt Strategy. And with that, we'll jump over to the Historical Gamer, because the Historical Gamer is most often his co-host on Single Malt Strategy. I think technically maybe it's Historical Gamers podcast. I'm not certain of the formalities, but either way, the two together produce wonderful content. They have other guests on as well around the strategy game genre. The Historical Gamer, again, has great YouTube content as well around similar games that we're going to be exploring here on the channel. Lastly, we'll go to the top right with Das Tactic. I love Daz's channel, and I gotta say, out of all of the creators on here, he sometimes has the funniest takes on things, and just how he creatively approaches some of the games I really appreciate. And again, I've been following him for a long time. Love that he also searches out some of those more niche titles that are underrepresented, and please do give him some support if you're interested in those types of games. Lastly, just going to talk very briefly about some of the suggested publishers where you can find some of these really detail-oriented and rewarding strategy games. From a board game perspective, we'll start out with MMP, which stands for Multi-Man Publishing. They publish the Operational Combat series of games, as well as Battalion Combat series, and a whole host of other games. By no means are they limited to those two systems, but they are probably two of my favorites. GMT Games, they're actually pretty large in the strategy war game hobby. You may know one of their flagship titles being Twilight Struggle, but they also publish a great deal of more niche systems and topics in the industry. Avalanche Press is really quite an interesting player in the board game hobby. They've been around for a very long time. They have some wonderful systems as well, but I particularly really enjoy their various systems around naval warfare. So if you're looking for strategy war games representing really, again, I'm overusing the word in this video, niche, but really niche, either wars or campaigns, they probably have you covered with some of their titles. And then lastly is Matrix Games, also, merged with Slytherin Publishing. And they have a whole host of really intense PC strategy, digital strategy games that we're going to be enjoying here on the channel, and already are. So they're the publishers of the Gary Grigsby series of games, Distant Worlds. Rule the Waves 3 was most recently published with them. So please do check them out if you're looking for some of these unique game opportunities. Well, folks, that just about does it for this video. Again, just wanted to have a quick little content update for where we're at, where we're going, and again, a warm welcome to any new followers of the channel. I do hope you enjoy the content, and as always, strategy gamers, hoping you have yourselves an excellent day. Bye now.